Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for stopping in with us today. It's pretty funny because I am just sitting here in a really cool, funky Airbnb with fellow graduate and friend of mine, Linda Bryant from Nashville. So first of all, Linda, hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And also, I want to thank you for getting my crew and I this awesome Airbnb for us to just kind of relax, regroup. We've been getting a lot of work done. We got to Nashville yesterday. We went right to Sam Cooper's home studio, interviewed him, and it was awesome. From there, we went to this Airbnb, dropped our things off, checked it out, make sure we could get in, stayed connected with you. And then after that, we did a 4 o'clock interview with somebody by the name of Carol Grace Anderson. She was on Hee Haw, and she's an artist. Her husband plays guitar and did like a lot of the, we didn't have time to interview him, but he was a super cool cat. And her husband played a lot of the guitar, reproducing. He's done a lot of things. This is just one thing that I remember because it connects to me. But he did a lot of the reproduction for karaoke music songs. So he did like the guitar for a lot of that kind of stuff.
Oh, wow. Somebody does that, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Somebody has to do it. But he has worked with a lot of great people and he performs. And anyway, so Carol Grace does a lot of things. She was in Hee Haw. She was on the road as a singer with her sister. She is an artist who now is making greeting cards through Blue Mountain. They take her artwork and they reproduce it. And she's a writer as well. So she writes the inside, she decorates the outside, and they produce it. Isn't that cool?
It's very cool. Yes, yes.
So after that, then we were able, thanks to Sam Cooper, to go see the Doyle and Debbie show. And while there, we interviewed in their green room Doyle and Debbie, whose names are actually Bruce and Jenny. Now, you thought that was so awesome. Can you tell everybody what is so cool about us being able to do that yesterday?
Well, the Doyle and Debbie show is like an iconic Nashville show that just everybody wants to go to. It's usually standing room only. I'm embarrassed to say, even though I'm from Nashville, I haven't been to the Doyle and Debbie show because I always waited too long to get tickets. So I was just like, you got to see the Doyle and Debbie show? But it's supposed to be hilarious and precious and funny and just a host of things. So I hope you did enjoy it.
Absolutely enjoyed it. And it was absolutely a host of things. And I wanted to bring you with us to the show last night. But can you guess why I didn't do that? What is it that I'm speaking to you about today that you are insanely busy with?
You had a deadline?
You had a deadline.
Oh, I had a deadline. Okay. Yes. Yes. I've been insanely busy with deadlines.
Because just so everybody knows, Linda, you are a journalist. And tell everybody what kind of journalism you do and for how long you've been doing it.
Well, I've been a journalist for approximately 30 years, and I've been through the whole gamut of different kinds of journalism jobs, from working a small weekly paper in Washington State on an island where you had to take a plane to jump from island to island, to working a daily newspaper. I started specializing in journalism about entrepreneurs and business about 10 years ago. And I have developed a specialty in that a lot because that's where a lot of the paying work was. So I've worked for various publications, but now I have my own freelance writing business.
And you and I went to this same creative writing program, right? Fairleigh Dickinson University in New Jersey, which I'll be there speaking, as a matter of fact, on the panel for the first day of when the alumni return for residency. So I get to be a part of that panel, which I'm really excited about.
Wow, that's cool. That's very cool.
But tell everybody about what we were discussing at breakfast earlier about your passions and the direction you kind of want to take your writing and even your life.
Well, yes, we were just sitting at breakfast over a big plate of hash browns and omelets and coffee, and I was talking with Lynette, taking advantage of some of her coaching skills, letting her know kind of where I'm at in my life. And we got pretty clarified. I'm doing better than I thought I was. I'm trying to, in the process of, not trying to, transitioning out of this deadline-oriented hustle that journalism has been all these years. And I'm close to retirement age, but I don't want to retire. And so I'm basically pivoting to try to to use my writing skills and my desire to want to make a difference in people's lives to kind of a new format so that I can still be busy, still work, but not with the same amount of intensity that I've been doing it with for many years. Because journalism is, when I leave this interview, I'm going to meet a deadline on 4 articles. And so I'd like to have less deadlines in my life.
Honestly, I think my crew and I are getting a really good taste of deadlines and urgency while we're on this 50-state tour because, we're like, okay, what time do we need to be at the next stop? Whether we're driving an hour, 3 hours, 8 hours, or if it's just we're on this part of town and we need to get to that part of town to be at an interview. And it's so disrespectful to be late that, we feel that constant sense of pressure. And so you've been doing it for 30 years. Yeah. And we've just been doing it every day, all day for the last, I don't know, 2 months and a week or 2.5 months or something like that right now. So, but I get what you mean by that you're just tired of that grind.
Well, there's a whole philosophy, and to which I adhere somewhat, is that without deadlines, oftentimes we don't get anything done. And that is, it's like I have a healthy respect for deadlines. But I think that once you become maybe more mastered what you do, or you've reached a certain point in your career or in your life, that it's definitely okay to step back and see how you can make it less stressful and more enjoyable.
Right. And one of the things you did was get a master's of fine arts in creative writing that you're not using to the potential that you would like to.
Oh, yes, that's true.
So what I thought was really interesting, and I think it can be beneficial to my audience too, is the fact that you used an amazing word, which was clarification. Our conversation that we had was really clarifying for you, but the beauty of it is that we really truly do have our own answers. Mm-hmm. We just are so kind of confused as to if it's the right one or not. And sometimes talking to somebody on the outside who is picking up the keywords from everything you're talking about in the different scenarios you're referring to can really recognize that in us.
Yes, and I think that's a little bit of the perspective I've been missing, not having somebody to bounce off of. And from our conversation, what I realized is I've been being, and I'm sure a lot of us do this, overly hard on myself, thinking, I don't really want to be doing what I'm doing. I need to be doing something else. And at the same time, I've been planting a lot of seeds for my next project that I'm going to do, but I haven't been giving myself credit for it. And so in our conversation, I realized, wait a minute, I'm setting myself up for what I want to do. I'm on track. Just take a deep breath, and a year from now or less, you're probably going to be in a much different place.
I think so. I really think you are. And I think that everything that you've accomplished to this point, including being part of the grind and the hustle for all these years, is exactly what's giving you the guts, the courage to ask for what you want, because you have the confidence to know that you can give them what you're proposing.
Well, except for I agree, but I don't think I was consciously telling myself, or I haven't been saying you can ask for what you want. I've been trying to, and we went into this in some detail in our conversation. I've been laying seeds to do a different kind of writing work for a different kind of clientele that would allow me part-time work, much more time to write on my own creative productions, and just not as stressful, not as deadline oriented. And I've been setting things up to do that, but I didn't give myself credit for it. So in my mind, it wasn't even happening. Does that make sense?
No, it makes absolute sense. It makes absolute sense. And I'm seeing the next level from that. Like, or maybe it's the level before that. Like, I see you taking the next step, and I see how everything you've been doing is converging onto that for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And it was just awesome that you just showed up and like, oh, I have my instant coach here who can help me clarify things.
I just feel so blessed. I truly do. And this synchronicity, and I talk about that on my show all the time about how when things come together, it's meant for you. And even the fact, and I've talked on this show about the license plate map that inspired this journey for me. And when I first got the idea was when I was sitting at that Quaker Steak and Lube restaurant, who I called Quaker Steak and Lube this morning to let them know that this whole thing happened, that I saw their map on the wall at a restaurant and decided I wanted to travel the 50 states to interview people about their passions. I saw that and it happened, and that I referred to them. And I called them this morning and told them, I just want to let you know that this happened, that I'm talking about you all over the country, that you inspired me, that we're on state 38 of 50, that I have 2 crew members, and it's impacted my business. It's impacted our lives. It's a funny story, and I just wanted to share that with you. But then I told them, and sitting on the wall next to my side of the bed here is, tell everybody what's on my wall there, Linda.
Well, there's a map of the United States, very similar, if not, it looked like the same to me, as the one in the Quaker Steak and Lube.
Exactly. It's just a smaller canvas version, because the one at Quaker Steak took up the whole wall, and this is just a canvas of that same image. It's the map of the United States in license plates.
That's kind of weird. Well, another weird thing, just like if anybody will appreciate this, but I was determined to get a really nice Airbnb for the crew here. Nashville's a hot place right now. I wasn't finding anything. Everything was all booked up. So this place that I ended up finding, which was at the last minute, everything for July and August and into September was booked up except for the 2 days that Lynette and her crew are going to be here. And we're about 4 blocks from my house. So
I can't believe that. That is such a crazy story. And if anybody can hear the chainsaw in the distance, that's because of the construction that is going on in Nashville. Is crazy. Matter of fact, that's something else that I am seeing, and I want to do a Facebook post about this for people. If you are looking for jobs, there are places around this country. Like, I know for a fact that I was speaking with somebody who's looking for a crane mechanic. He pays very handsomely and will fly you to commute to Florida and back if you are an experienced crane mechanic, and the salary is amazing. In Georgia, I know somebody who owns a landscaping company, and he pays extremely well hourly rate, where in Georgia, it's so much less to live. Matter of fact, we went out to hibachi, and the prices were half as much for a hibachi meal than it is where I live. Mm-hmm. And the salary for this landscaping company was double what you would get paid in New Jersey. So if anybody wants to be a landscaper in Georgia and you're super qualified, you can email me at Lynette@motivatemepodcast.com. But with all this construction going on in Nashville as well, I am sure that they are looking for.
Yeah, I'll get a plug in here. Yes, Nashville is, I think it's one of the top 5 employment cities for employment in the U.S., like according to Forbes and places like that.
Of course, the journalist has stats for us.
And the nice thing about Nashville is that it's extremely artistic and vibrant. So even if you don't like the South or something like that, Nashville is its own country. You see stars when you go into cafes, and it's not the same as like New York City or someplace like that. It's much more laid back. So it's just, we're all very into the TV show Nashville here, and most of the stars of that show have moved here. A friend of my family for the past, just for years, is now producing his own weekly TV show. He lives in LA now, but he's from Nashville. That's called Still the King, which is on CMT, which is about an Elvis impersonator. So that's getting rave reviews. So we're sort of like becoming like a real center for like TV and movies, and it's an exciting place.
I would love to interview an Elvis impersonator. Do you know we have not ran into an Elvis impersonator yet? So let me know if you know one.
Well, let's put it out there in the universe, Lynette. Like,
I think I just did. We might be sorry for what we just wished for. You never know.
No, you can never really go wrong with an Elvis impersonator.
This is true.
One of the nice things that I'd like to say about Lynette and her project that she's doing is that I think she's helping a lot of people on her way, on her journey. this was her stopping by was like getting my own private coaching session. It's been really great. And just hearing about all the details of your trip, Lynette, it's a very exciting thing. And I think it's inspired me to think about what can I do that's like big and out of the box, but that would just really thrill me. What can I do that's out of my comfort zone? Then just ask, like you said, just ask and see what happens.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do here. And my crew and I together, this is our like mission, is just to say, get out of your comfort zone, try something new. People, maybe they won't answer your request, or, maybe they'll say no, and that's okay. But the opportunities that we've had, it is so eye-opening. So thank you so much for that. That's exactly why I am out here.
Yeah. Well, it's working. Your magic is working. So
thank you so much. And that's it, everybody. So remember, you do motivate me, and you motivate Linda. And that's it. From Nashville, we're going out on the town, going to check out some honky-tonks.
Yeehaw.
And I talk to you, and I talk to you, and I talk to you, and I talk to you. And we love, and we hate, and we demonstrate. We try to relate. This is my breakthrough.